Hi BookTube! How has your week been? Mine was okay. It was kind of hectic, but that's okay. We're working that out. This is Dina. She is one half of my dogs, and she really wanted to be in a video today. She kept coming around and coming around, so I decided to let her on camera with me. And this is probably the only way you would ever see Dina, because Dina does not like people. She is extremely shy. She was surrendered to the shelter when she was about 6 months old and never really had interaction with humans. So we got her in August of 2012, and it took a while for her to come around. She would hide under my bed, and then she started coming and sitting in the hall, but not really letting us get close to her. And then she finally started coming around, but strangers she's still very, very wary of. But yeah, we're doing this Friday Reads video, aren't we, Dina? She cannot be comfortable because I know I am not comfortable. But she doesn't seem to want to go down. Let me try putting her down. So yeah, that was Dina. She is 6 years old, and she thinks she runs my household. And it's kind of funny because my other dog is 130 pounds, and Dina wears the pants. He's the sweetest, gentlest dog in the universe, and she knows she's in charge of this house, that's for sure. She's still laying just out of sight, still wanting to be in the video. But yeah, like I mentioned, this is Friday Reads. The week has been, like I said, a little bit hectic, but you know, it's going. I actually surprised myself and read 3 books this week, which I was just super excited with. So the first thing I listened to was on Audible, and that is The Wife Between Us. I don't remember the authors. I know there are 2. But see, the thing I have with Audible books is sometimes it's really hard for me to focus in on a narration, even though I didn't find that so with this book. Simply because of the fact that I was putting a puzzle together, so I was like really able to listen to the book rather than, you know, doing something and having it on for background noise. I thought the book was okay. I didn't think it lived up to some of the hype that I'd been hearing about it, and the twists were very predictable except for the twist at the very, very end of the book. I did not see that one coming, but I just thought that this was an okay book. I'd probably rate it about a 3. And any books that I talk about in this video that I have finished, I will put in my January wrap-up once I have time to sit and really process my thoughts on them, especially with one of the books that I have to show you. I think it's the next book. But yeah, it was an okay read, not the best thriller that I've ever read, but you know, a good way to pass the time, I guess. If I was recommending a thriller, I wouldn't choose this one. I didn't really have a problem with it. It was just okay. And I feel bad because I really wanted to like it. But you know what? We're not going to feel bad because the next book I wanted to love and I did not. The next book I have to show you guys, I am not going to apologize for not liking it. I know a ton of people like this book, and if you liked it, that's great. Let's chat about it in the comments down below. I, however, am not going to apologize for not liking a book ever on my channel, regardless of how popular it is or anything like that. I read things different than you, and you read things different than me, and that's okay. Reading is subjective, you know, we don't all have to like the same book. That's what makes BookTube so magical. As long as we're able to have a mature adult conversation about why we didn't like certain books, that's great. Let's do that. Let's be civil to each other and remember that everyone has their own opinion. So with that being said, the book that I did not like is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I actually did a buddy read of this book. I'll leave both of their channels linked in the description down below. I had such a great time reading this with 2 amazing women, and we had such great discussions about it, but I didn't like it. And I don't think they liked it as much either. I didn't see what all the hype was about. I did not like the main character of Evelyn at all. And I'm going to go further into details about this, like I said, in my January wrap-up, once I have time to really chew on my ideas and maybe write them down, because can't do that. But I felt like this book could have benefited from either a multiple perspective narration or dual authors. I felt that the ideas and the plot points that Taylor Jenkins Reid wanted to hit were there. All the makings of a great book were there, but it just stopped shy. The train just kind of stopped for me. I thought Evelyn was incredibly selfish, only after herself. And then in the back of the book, we're told that it's all about family for Evelyn. And she wanted to make sure that this writer she's given her story to tells that to the world, that it's all about family. But that theme was not present in this book. The theme of power was very present in this book. Evelyn wheedled and used and manipulated people to get exactly what she wanted. And yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say about this for now. Obviously, I have a lot of sticky notes in it, so I can go back and reference my thoughts then. But this one missed the mark for me, guys. I think I gave this a 3. The writing was there. The writing was okay, but missed the mark on the story. Okay, and then the third and final book that I finished this week is The One by John Mars. This book was okay. It is, I don't know if you would call it a thriller. I guess you would. It follows multiple different perspectives. So we're following all of these different people that have been matched up with their DNA match on a dating website called Match Your DNA. And this is supposedly the one person in the world for them. And it just tells the story of 5 people that have used this service and have found a match. So we have a woman named Mandy who has discovered that her match is deceased, a man called Christopher who is a serial killer, a woman called Jade who discovers that her match is on the opposite side of the world, and a guy called Nick who discovers that his match is not what he expected at all, and a woman named Ellie who meets her match, and he is the complete opposite of her, and she's struggling to let this wall that she's built let down. And it just follows each one of their stories and how they progress from there. I found it to be gripping. It was a very gripping book, but unfortunately I thought that John Mars was just doing things in the book to elicit the wow factor, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just did that. And while it was okay, it felt a little excessive, and in some chapters it even felt a little forced. I would have liked it if we would have followed less people, and because this was in multiple perspectives, I found myself flipping, which was not a good thing. But toward the end, I just wanted to see about certain characters, and I wasn't really keen on discovering the rest. I mean, I finished the book, but I was flipping ahead a lot toward the end, just trying to see what was going to happen to these characters. And so it was compelling that way, but it just felt a lot. It felt extra. Like there was just too much going on. And yeah, it definitely didn't make my top thrillers either. I wanted to like this one, but I gave it 3 stars in the end, which means it was okay. And if anybody asks me, I might be more inclined to recommend this one than The Wife Between Us, just because I think this one gripped me a little bit more. So those were the 3 books that I finished this week. And now we're going to get into 4 books that I am currently working on and hope to finish this coming week. The first one is the one I showed you guys in my last Friday reads, and it is The Little Shop of Found Things by Paula Braxton. So, a little bit about this book. I thought I was going to finish it by the end of December, so I could have finished it, before January rolled around. I didn't. And then I picked up The Wife Between Us on audio and was stuck listening to that because I wanted to find out what was going on. While it wasn't as gripping as the one, I still wanted to find out because I'm an inquisitive person. So I was listening to that. I finished that one in like a day or 2. And then I started the buddy read with Catherine and Keriann. So I was reading more in The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. and then I was reading back and forth with the one when I needed a break from Evelyn. And the reason why I wasn't picking this book up is because I discovered it in December and I loved it. I adored every second that I was reading this book, and I just wanted to treasure it. I didn't want to keep reading. I just wanted to kind of have it as mine for a little bit longer, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys feel that way about books sometimes. Like if you get a really, really good book and you just want to slow it down and really take everything in and enjoy it. So currently I have about 70 pages left in this book. So I'm going to try and finish it this week. I will be very sad to part with it, but I know I need to let it go so I can really process it and think about it some more. Gotta let it go, let it go. Okay, another book that I am right in the middle of, and it is Another Woman's Husband. This is by this author up here. I want to say you say it Jill Paul. I don't think it's Gil Paul. But this says on the cover, a woman named Wallace, a princess named Diana, 2 scandals that rocked the crown. Dun, dun, dun. So this follows 2 of my favorite time periods in British history. It follows Wallis Simpson, and this is before she has married Edward VIII. So for those of you that don't know, Wallis Simpson married Edward VIII. There you go. So Edward VIII was the son of King George V, who was the king that would not let the Romanovs into England, but he was the first son. So George V had Edward and then George VI, who is Queen Elizabeth's father. Now, Edward met Wallis Simpson and fell in love with her and wanted to marry her. But the problem was she was a divorcee, and that was extremely frowned upon. So Edward abdicated the throne, and it went to George VI, who was the stutterer. They made a movie about it, The King's Speech. If you haven't seen it, it is a fantastic movie, you guys. The only little hitch in that movie is it is rated R because there's a scene where he uses the F word about 7 or 8 times, I think. And they went to the director and they said, you know, if you drop it down by 2, we'll rate it PG-13. And he was like, F no, or whatever. But it's not unnecessary. Like, he's trying to help him overcome his stutter and says something along the lines of cursing really helps. So that's why that's in there. I mean, I would have no problems letting, you know, preteen on up watch the movie. It is that great. So I'm stopping myself before I get on another Romanov tangent like I did in another video. This follows the story of Wallis Simpson, but it's actually going through her best friend, Mary. And so we're seeing things from Mary's life, but also the high points from Wallis's life. The part I'm at right now is that she has just met Edward. So we're gonna see where things go from there. And then we're also following Rachel's perspective, who is in 1997. Now she has just been engaged to her boyfriend, Alex, and they are going back to their hotel for their last evening in Paris when they come across the Alma Tunnel and they see that a car has been in a wreck of some kind. There are paparazzi everywhere, and Alex gets out to investigate. And he discovers that Princess Diana and Dodi El-Fayed have been in a car crash, and that Dodi has died on the scene, and Princess Diana is rushed to the hospital and later dies. Now, Alex is a documentary maker, and he believes that something sketchy is going on with Princess Diana's death. He thinks that the Secret Service may have had something to do with it, so he starts looking into that. And it's just following Rachel's perspective as she, works in her vintage clothing shop and tries to find out more about what's going on with Alex, who is looking into this mystery. So the writing is okay, but the mystery hasn't fully gripped me, and I really wanted it to because, like I said, 2 of my favorite periods in British history are happening in this book, and I just need it to be a little bit more. I just want just a little bit more oomph. This is also in 2 perspectives, in case you can figure that out, by the way I was talking about the book, and I have also found myself flipping. But there was something I wanted to know, and I thought I was right, but it turns out I wasn't, so, there you go. So I need to stop doing that. I need to stop flipping through books, but that is Another Woman's Husband. Hopefully I'll finish it this week. All right, so next up we have The First Conspiracy by Brad Meltzer. I believe I am on chapter 8. Chapter 7. I'm on chapter 7. So GW has just been delegated to be the head of the Continental Army. And yeah, he's the guy in charge. George Washington is now at command, and they are just starting the story, really. I haven't even gotten that far in. There I am. Not a lot at all. I'm sorry about the light. I keep getting reflections on the glasses. You guys, if I took them off, I'd be blind, but I needed more light in here. I figured that out after my last video. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. I started it and I was really interested, and I love spies, and this is all about the secret plot against George Washington by people in his inner circle that wanted to take him down, and how the birth of American counterintelligence and all that kind of stuff, which I am super fascinated by. But for some reason I just put this down, but this is going to be the week. I feel it in my bones, you guys. I feel it. It's going to happen. Me and this guy. And it really needs to happen, especially because it's coming out this month, so I need to get a review out for that book. But the next book, I am a little nervous about the next book. It's Jacoby by William Ritter. And I love detectives. I love, sidekick detective stories. Love them. What I don't like is paranormal, and this has plenty of paranormal in it. Jacoby's kind of reminded me of Johnny Depp and Edward Scissorhands. But yes, this does have paranormal elements in it. I am on chapter 8 in this book. I've been reading it on the Overdrive app, so I haven't really had to put a marker in it yet. But I was trying to look through the Overdrive app for books that I had on my January TBR, and this was the only one. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. Let's see. So I hope something different gets added, like a different element, something that will really grip me in. I'm trying to get over the paranormal aspect of it, and I really do want to give this an honest shot. So we're going to see. We shall see. Okay, so the next book that I have is a book that I am reviewing, and it is called Echoes of Grace by Keriann Bell. It looks like that. Beautiful cover. But I'm just going to read you guys the description because I tried to download, excuse me, I tried to download this book and I was unable to, so I had to get on my computer and do it, and I was kind of feeling lazy. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, so it says, even in death, love survives. Grace Malloy was the darling of the theater scene. Young and dazzling, she gave it all up to marry the playwright Henry Sinclair, 30 years her senior. Then, one stormy night, she died, giving birth to her daughter, Aurora. Left with no memory of her mother, Aurora is raised by Henry and her nanny, Maggie, in a huge old house on the Cornish coastline. All the little girl has of Grace is a portrait, a painting of a woman in a white dress, her beautiful face frozen in time. Aurora grows up resembling Grace in looks and talent. She pursues her dream of being on the stage and soon achieves great success in the world of theater, like her mother before her. Then a secret unfolds, a secret that could threaten all she holds dear. Echoes of Grace is the story of a young woman who, having overcome a painful past, must now embrace it to find her real self. So it sounds really interesting, and I just wish I could have downloaded it. I'm kind of glad that I didn't, though, because then I would not have picked up Jacoby. And I think that the 2 books that are on my January TBR so far, 2 books is better than 1, right? I know I mentioned a whole bunch of books on that one. I'm also, excuse me, 1 second. Drink of water, guys. Of course, I only have like a little tiny sip. I'm also going to reformat how I'm going to do my TBRs a little bit, or how I choose the books for my TBRs. That is going to be coming up tomorrow or the day after. Yeah, I recently cleaned my shelves, reevaluated what I had, and we're gonna go from there. So I'm gonna be picking, like, most anticipated reads, or reads I think I'll give 5 stars to, books that I want to either read or DNF, and then early review books that I've had for a while that I either won or were sent to me. So yeah, look forward to those videos. I hope you guys enjoyed meeting Dina. Maybe Tucker will make an appearance in the next video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm sorry this is kind of all over the place and scatterbrained, but yeah, let me know what you guys are reading this week or next week down in the comments below. And yeah, let's talk about Evelyn Hugo, because that will be a fun one, huh? Well, I really had a great time discussing that book. One of them said that it was a great book club book. I think it was Keriann, it might have been Catherine. I have the memory of a goldfish, and I do apologize sincerely. But, you know, they're like, it would be a great book club book because there's so much to talk about, and there really is a lot to talk about. Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Oh, goodness, I'm prattling now. But before we go, I mean, I might as well tell you that my hair is not having the best of days today. I had chili today because it is freezing cold in Tennessee. Super, super cold. And I went to grab a cracker, and they were at the bottom of the packet, and I opened it, and cracker crumbs just got everywhere, and of course got in my hair. And then after the chili, I was brushing my teeth, and I used mouthwash, and my hair it was back, and then it crept over my shoulder and got a little mouthwash. So it's been washed. I hope it's okay. It still needs to get cut. I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching this video and for listening to me prattle on and on about random stuff and a little bit about books. Not too much, but you know, it was here and there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to become part of the tribe, and I will see you in my next video where I won't talk as much or as long about random things. Bye.